Yes, I'm.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm not on LaGuardia. I'm not in Israel. I am just in the Chabad Markham show, and it's pretty nice. And I'm excited to be back. So we'll start off by giving tzedakah. We're giving tzedakah to make a Rebbetzin if you have, and we'll get straight to it. We are in chapter 2. We're going to wait a few seconds for everyone to get on. And Chaim. Okay. I never usually have cash, and this morning I found cash. That's really. Hey, good morning, Rosalie and Marlene and Kim. Boker Tov. Hello, Linda. For those of you who like to be in person, ta-da, we're here. Everyone say hi. We do have a class live, and it's nice to have it live. I like connecting and speaking to a screen. So last week, and the last 2 weeks, I spoke more about Yud Shvat and contemporary things that were going on. But now we're back to Tanya, and we are in the second chapter. And if you remember, which soul, you can put it down in the comments, which soul are we introduced to in second chapter of Tanya? The Nefesh Elokit, the godly soul. And I was looking into some very interesting. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Linda. I was looking into a very interesting article that was written by Mark Twain in 1898. Everybody knows Mark Twain, right? Everybody here know Mark Twain? You've all heard of Mark Twain? And he wasn't the greatest Jew lover, but he did write something about the Jew. And it connects to what we're talking about in Tanya. I want to read it to you, okay? And tell me what your feelings are after you read an article like this written about the Jew. It says, he's writing about the survival of the Jews. How is it that Jews are surviving with everything that's happening to us? And today you still have people going, oh my God, what's going to be? There's so much anti-Semitism. Relax. It's happened before, and it's going to happen again. And we're not worried about it because it's somebody's on a remove. Oh no, Blocky. Okay. So they're worried that, it's anti-Semitism and it's coming to its ugly head. And are the Jews going to survive? Jews going to survive? Are you kidding me? Look what we've survived already. So the Jew has this inimitable piece of Hashem that will never, ever disappear. And we are connected to God for eternity. But even Mark Twain, who's not a Jew lover, wrote this. The Jew has made a marvelous fight in this world. In all ages, he has done it with his hands tied behind him. He could be vain of himself and be excused of it. The Egyptian, the Babylonian, the Persian rose, filled the planet with sound and splendor, and then faded to dream stuff and passed away. The Greek, the Roman followed, made a vast noise, and they're gone. Other peoples have sprung up, held their torch high for a time, but are burned away, and they sit in twilight now, or have vanished. The Jew, I love this part, the Jew saw them all, beat them all, and is now what he always is, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening of his parts, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his alert and aggressive mind. All things are mortal, but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality? I love this. Now, Mark Twain didn't do this to compliment the Jews. He was actually a very strong anti-Semite. But in every anti-Semite, unfortunately, like Bilam, that king who had to come and curse the Jews when they were in the desert, he came to curse the Jews, and he ended up giving us our greatest, beautiful blessings, Matovo Lecha Yaakov Mishkan Esech Yisrael, that we sing every morning. It came from Bilam's curse. They try to get up and curse us, but they can't. And he said what is the absolute emes. There is something that is deep, that is intrinsic, that is everlasting. What is our secret? So I'm going to ask all of you watching, and then we're going to have a conversation, what is our secret? Why have we surpassed, as he says, the Greeks and the Romans and the Persians and the Egyptians and the Babylonians? And we could say now the Nazis, and we could say the communists, and we could talk about the right wing that are anti-Semitic. We're going to outlive them all. What is our secret? Is because we're such fantastic people. What is our secret? And the answer lies in Perek Beis of Tanya. It's our Nefesh Elokis. We have a piece of Hashem that is so connected that nothing can rip us apart, nothing can tear us apart, nothing can remove us, nobody can defeat us. Because just like the creator of the world can never be fought, remember in the story right before the flood, you had the people from Bavel. They tried to build a tower to beat God. And this is a story in the Chumash, right? And what happens? They build and build and build until they get very high and become a little bit egotistical, like, hey, we're going to reach God. And then God does a little switcheroo, changes their languages, and before you know it, they all fall apart. The tower collapses, and it's the end of them. You can't fight a God. If you want to be smart, you join God. You join the winner. And that's what we as Jews have done. And sometimes even without our consent, we're born with an Nefesh Elokis. We don't have a choice. We are part of Hashem's plan, His vision, the whole purpose of the world. In every single scenario, the Jew is in there. Do the non-Jews hate us for it? Yes, they do. Some of them do. Not all of them. Many of them, and I'm not including one.
Trying to figure out how come where. So.
And there's still reverence, and they're still realizing. The smart non-Jews say, if you can't beat them, join them. The other ones say, let's beat them. Let's make that tower. We're going to beat up their God and beat them. Stop. It's futile. It's ridiculous. It's like a little 2-year-old comes with a hammer and says to his mother, I'm going to beat you up. Take your plastic hammer and go play. Or let's talk about it. But that's how idiosyncrasy this is. So let's talk about what is this Nefesh Elokis, right? So we started saying that each one of us has a piece of Hashem. It enters our body at birth. It enters a little bit more when we get our Jewish name. That's why we have, you might know some people who don't have a Jewish name, but we know people that don't, and they say to themselves, oh, I'll wait, especially like a lot of newborns. The moms will wait. I'll wait a few months till I'm feeling better, and then I'll come to shul. No. As soon as you get a Jewish name, there's another spark of the Nefesh Elokis that enters.
How about a name that, let's say Jordan? It's Yarden.
It has to be given by the Torah with explicit kavanah that this is the Jewish name. At the Brit, of course. And for the girl, it's at the Torah. So the girl has a little bit of a higher level. She gets named by the Torah. Okay? But there are people that wait. Don't wait. Why are you waiting for a gift to come? It's like, I don't need my $1 million lottery. I'll wait. Get it now, right? As soon as you can. So a girl can get named immediately. If she's born on Sunday, she could be named when? Monday or Thursday or Shabbat, or if it's Rosh Chodesh. As soon as they take out the Torah, the girl could be named. But when does the full Nefesh Elokis actually enter us? Bar and Bat Mitzvah. So what is this Nefesh Elokis? So we said the Nefesh Elokis is actually a Chelek Elokam Imam Mamash. Now, we have to make one very strong caveat. The Nefesh Elokis is not the neshama that makes us do good. Because are you going to say, and I'm going to ask it now to everyone over here, are you going to say that only Jews do mitzvot? Right. So that's not the Nefesh Elokis. So where's that coming from? Where is the desire to do good? You sometimes will walk somewhere, you'll see someone does CPR on a stranger in the street, and you go, what made you do it? What's it called? It's called the Nefesh HaSichlit. Remember we spoke about it. It's not the Nefesh HaBahamut. Because Nefesh HaBahamut is all about what? Selfishness. The Nefesh HaBahamut is not making you jump there and do CPR on a stranger. It's coming for the non-Jew, it's coming from the Nefesh HaSichlit. It's coming from a place where you listen. There are a lot of millions of non-Jews that are good, kind, considerate people. So what's the nefesh elokis? What's the nefesh elokis? How is it different than the nefesh elokis? Like what are these differences? Because if we have the nefesh elokis, there's got to be a reason for it. What is it adding onto a Jew that the other neshama, the other nefesh, is not giving?
It's because it's everybody. It's your brain. So you're thinking to do good, you do good. But nefesh elokit, it's more because you know that God is with you. So you do it out of your.
Adam, peace of Hashem. Please put it in the comments if you can. What is the difference between the nefesh hasichlit and nefesh elokis? We have some really good answers over here. I'm going to let people put them down over here. So the nefesh elokis, the epitome, what stands out with the nefesh elokis is that we never want to be torn from godliness. A Jew never wants to be ripped away from godliness. That, what we call mesirat nefesh. What's mesirat nefesh? Think about Hannah and her 7 sons in the days of the Greeks, when all her sons refused to bow down to the idol, and they died, al kiddush Hashem. That's called mesirat nefesh. Mesirat nefesh means to give over your nefesh, to give over your life. When Daniel Pearl, that fateful day, when he was being beheaded by the Pakistanis, and he said those words, I am a Jew, my father is a Jew, my mother is a Jew, that comes not from the nefesh hasichlit, and that comes not from the nefesh habahamit. That comes from where? That nefesh elokit that says, I can never, ever be ripped away from my God. I am born very, very secular. I don't even know why I said this, right? Daniel Pearl, very secular Jew. He had no reason to say that. Why did he have to make that declaration? Because why? Because that nefesh elokit said, you cannot rip me up from my source. That's why Jews throughout the ages have stood up and done crazy things. You know, this past week, I spoke for Chabad and Bayview. It was a last-minute decision. They had originally intended to bring Mendel Bayless's grandson. Now, anybody ever heard of Mendel Bayless? Okay, so Mendel Bayless is a Jew that lived, I want to have the correct names. He was a Jew that was arrested and suspected of murdering a Christian child, because the blood libels in the olden days was that we Jews use the blood to bake our matzah. We don't even eat an egg that has a blood spot. Like, where are you out to lunch? But thank God today this is not a reality. But in the days of old, there were many non-Jews, especially, Christians and Catholics, who were anti-Semitic, especially their priests. There's stories and stories of these blood libels, they were called. So Mendel Bayless was arrested with the charge that he was a murderer, and specifically a Christian child, because Passover is coming and the Jews need the blood. Hello, we're only allowed to use flour and water. We don't touch the blood. Yeah, we don't touch the blood, not even a blood spot. How many times have I thrown out vats of something because there was a blood spot? But anyway, we have so many anti-Semites that we can't even deal with those. But this group at this generation, so they arrested him, and he was prosecuted for this thing. And one of the things that the prosecutor was saying was that you call yourselves Adam. You call yourselves Adam. You are a man. But the rest of us, we're nothing. That's why you can kill our children, because you say you are Adam, right? Atem korim Adam. He was fixated on the word that we as Jews call ourselves Adam. So the defending lawyer stood up and said something brilliant. He said, let me ask you something. Did you notice that since Mendel Bayless was arrested and charged, did you see how Jews from around the world have raised money and have sent letters and have made protests and have been galvanizing and just putting their support to prove Mendel's innocence? Did you notice that? Now, let me ask you about the family that lost their child. Has anybody gone to their house and asked them how they're doing? Has the whole village stood around that family and cried with them and helped them and sent them money and been there for them? And the answer was no. And he says, you know why? We call ourselves as Jews Adam. Why? Because we are one people. When the head hurts, Nikki has like this. You have a pain in your shoulder, in your neck, and now your thumb hurts. Why does that happen? Because you are one body. When something hurts in our head, even the toes feel it. We Jews are part of one mitziyut, one reality. We compromise one Adam. So when Mendel Bayless is being arrested, the Jews in London, America, Russia, France, it hurts me. It hurts me. Is that disgusting that hurts me? No, it's my body. I feel my pain because my pain of my body is real. When another Jew is in pain, why is that? Because this nefesh elokis that I have is part of Adam, and it connects every single Jew to each other and to Hashem. That's why we have what's called gamachs in this city. Nikki, can we talk about gamachs in this city? There's a shoe gamach, a sheitel gamach, a dressing gamach. There's a bencher gamach. There's gown gamach. There's sheitel gamachs. There's
also actually milk, breast milk, like donors.
Donors.
Aren't able to.
Can you put down on right here? Write down if you've heard of any gamachs just in Toronto or anywhere around the world. If you are making a bar mitzvah and you need beds, there's a bed gamach. You need pillows and blankets, there's a gamach. You need someone to get nice cake platters and nice dishes, there's a gamach. Why do Jews do this? What does my friend downtown care about my cake platter for my bar mitzvah? Because we are one body. We are part of Hashem, that nefesh elokis, that is one whole. And yet, we have to remember that just like a body, some of us are the head, some of us are the shoulders, some of us are the feet. And there are different levels in the Jewish community. We have a Rebbe who's the head. We have Talmidei Chachamim and the Rabbanim that we go to, those are the head. And the rest of us are different parts of the body. But each one of us, from the top to the toe, is still connected to the same nefesh elokis. And that nefesh elokis does not discriminate if I am the toe, if I am the shoulder, if I'm the head. It all comes from the same part of Hashem. Linda says there's an organization in Toronto. If you have a flat tire or run out of gas, they will come and help you. This is me ka'amcha Yisrael. I could see why Mark Twain had a little problem. It's a little bit of jealousy, but hey, who's stopping the rest of the world from starting a machs? You can have a Christian gamach, a Protestant gamach, a Muslim gamach, a Amish gamach. Go ahead, make a gamach. Make yourself great again. You know, but the question is, why do we do it? What makes us intrinsic? Because I feel my pain in my body. And that's the same way I feel the pain of a Jew. Because my nefesh elokis is a selective neshama that's Jewish. That neshama does two things. A, it doesn't allow us to be disconnected from another Jew. So when last Friday night, or was it two Friday nights ago, when was last Friday night? When there was a killing in the shul in Israel, in Neve Yaakov, and Muslims came and shot and killed precious Jews, every one of us was in suspense because this is our family. Do I know the name of that person? No. Do I know the family? No. But they are my body. They're my blood. Why? Because we come from the same place. We share that nefesh elokis. And that in itself is natural. It's as natural as when a bird makes a nest. Did his mother have to teach him how to make a nest? No? Huh?
Do they just naturally know?
They naturally know. And they don't do it with hands. What do they do it with? Their beak. Who teaches a bird how to build a nest? It's insane. But that's natural and that's intrinsic. Hashem gave us the same natural instincts to want to love Hashem, to want to love a Jew. So if it comes to life and death, we always, if there are three cardinal sins a Jew is never allowed to do. They have to give up their life. Number one, you're not allowed to murder anybody unless it's self-defense. You're not allowed to murder anyone. If someone says to you, murder so-and-so, or else I'm going to kill you, you have to say, I'm sorry, I can't murder anyone. Number two, to commit adultery. And number three, to commit idolatry, right? Those bow down to idols. So Jews, we don't have that struggle today. But in the days of old, think about in the Spanish Inquisition, or think about the days of Matisyahu, right? We as Jews, it comes naturally for us to say, I don't want to cut myself off from the Jewish people. That's because we have the nefesh elokis. It wouldn't come any other way. Because we have that godly soul, we are so connected to Hashem and to his desires. Did you want to say something? You okay? Okay. I said something that... Okay. So the idea of being connected to another Jew and being connected to Hashem is right here really in this Perek Beis, in this chapter 2. But there's something else that chapter 2 talks about. Because we are one body, all the Jews. And that's why when something happens in Turkey, my first instinct is, oh my gosh, was there a Jewish shul that, and there was a Jewish shul in Turkey that was, they think that the president of the shul was actually died in this the shul collapsed, and they think the president was there. I know that the Chabad rabbi that's there is now trying. He went down to see and to check the rubble and to see who needs help because they need to have burials. They need to. They found him taking out the Torahs to save the Torahs. It's like a tragedy. So we care about everyone, but of course, like you're going to say, if there's a tragedy in a school, is one mother going to go and worry about everyone else's children, or she worries about her kid first? The natural thing is to worry about your kid first. So we worry. But there's another very interesting point in this week's Tanya, and that is this. Because we know where we are in the body. I mean, we don't know specifically, am I the elbow, am I the knee? But I know that I'm not the Rosh. I know that that's the Rebbe's role. That's the Rebbe. But what do I want to do? I want to connect to the Rebbe. I want to connect to my head. And that is what Tanya in Perek Beis is telling us. We need to connect to our Rebbe. We need to, everyone has to find a tzaddik. That is the head of this body of Jews. Let's connect to that tzaddik for two reasons. A, because that tzaddik brings us higher, and that tzaddik can accomplish things that we maybe can't, because the head has the brain. The head has a much more bigger scope of what it can accomplish. The hands could pick things up, but God forbid if the brain is dead, the person's dead. So in this week's Tanya, we talk about connecting to a tzaddik. And people say, like when people go to the Ohel or they listen to the Ohel, they go, why would I go to Ohel? I could connect to God myself. Of course you could. That's why you daven 3 times a day. But a tzaddik, because he's on a higher level, he can intercede on our behalf even more quickly and more potently. Right? Like, example. Yesterday morning at 8:15, my husband and I had a meeting with Frank Scarpiti, the president of York University, and some other people that are like on the committee, the top echelons of the York University. Now, York University has a campus in Glendon, they have a campus in Kiel, and did you know they're opening a campus in Markham? And we set up this meeting with the mayor about a month ago. We said, listen, we know you're starting, and next year you're going to open. However, we want to make sure that there is a space in York University for Jewish students. So they said, let's have a meeting and let's see what you have in mind. And it was really nice because we had a 45-minute meeting. Number one, we spoke about how, we felt anti-Semitism at York U and other things. But the president, interestingly enough, she said that the last year, she's been aggressively working on making the Jewish students feel safer. And that's why, if you notice, there hasn't been a lot of these intifada kind of stuff at York U. I didn't realize that this is true. She has really, I know, because I was there 3 weeks ago. And when I came home, I said to my husband, I felt a difference and I don't know what it is. And she said to us, she goes, I want you to know, Rabbi and Goldie, that I put a huge emphasis of my leadership on making sure that Jewish students, amongst others, but specifically Jewish students, should feel comfortable. And she goes, and now we want to work even harder to make sure that the Markham branch really has a space. So we were thinking of what we could do. We said, let's have a place of worship. So if the Jews want to come and daven mincha, they can have a place there. We want to have a student council room where the Jewish community could know that there's going to be special, and we want Chabad to have a presence there. We should have an inn, so that if we want to do student things or student gatherings or classes. And they said, absolutely, what? Like a shliach. And they were like so open. And I said, we want to do this now, even before you build it, so that students who hear about the Markham branch should know, oh, Chabad's going to be there. Oh, great. We feel comfortable. So why did we have this meeting? Because in every situation you're in, you always have to go to the top. Frank Scarpiti gave a mandate. In my York University, Chabad's going to have a space. And he's...
Because a lot of places, like there's a school by our house, that the principal, she's Jewish.
Yeah.
And every time I see her, I'm like, one day I'm going to come and support her and just going to put it up. Because they say like there's other kids that they're not Jewish, so we don't put it.
Well, yeah.
I'm saying if it's a place where you know that a rabbi will come.
Look at, there's a student union. A mezuzah? Why not? Or lawyers have it. Oh. It's because I don't think, I can't even imagine. If there's a Jew that works in the government and they say they want a mezuzah, they're allowed to put it on their door, like in their office.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Place for Canada Ball, there's all mezuzahs on each door.
She's saying those are private. But by the way, York University is private too. Right? It's funded by private. So Arlene says, wouldn't other nationalities want equal rights? Yes. This is the thing. Everyone's going to have equal rights, but York University is very aware that the Jews, and I think Asians also, but the Jews specifically at York, were feeling very intimidated. So that's why this meeting was only about, specifically about the Jews. And she said, York University at Kiel, there's a Jewish studies. There is. Professor Schnorr is the professor, and I spoke there a few weeks ago. And it's actually a very, very nice class that he does. His class has all denominations there. There was Chinese, there was Muslim, there was every single religion was there that day in that class. So I see that there's a lot of religions. Someone here asks a question. How does one become a tzaddik? So we spoke about this in one of the last classes, and we said, if you want to become a tzaddik, so a tzaddik is born already with a special neshama. Their neshama comes from a very high place in Atzilut. It's the highest level of the world. There's 4 different worlds: Atzilas, Yitziras, Bria, and Asiya. And Atzilus is the highest. So that we don't have control of. But what we do have control of is if we want to be like a tzaddik, which in Tanya is called a Beinani. And all you have to do is very easy. 3 things you have to do. You ready? Let me see who asked this question. I can't seem to find the question now. Yeah. Okay, the question again. How do you become a tzaddik? How do you become tzaddik-like, which is called a beni? Your machshava, dibor, and maaseh have to be absolutely godly 24/7. That's all you have to do to become a tzaddik. And if you do that, you can wear a big label that says, I am a tzaddik. That would be a problem because that's called being haughty, and a tzaddik isn't haughty. But really, it's all it means. It means your thoughts, your speech, and your action are all in line with godliness.
Somebody be born a tzaddik without knowing that he's a tzaddik and just find out later on in life. And you said you're born as a tzaddik, but what if you don't know you're a tzaddik and then it just...
That's a very good question. So, for example, when the Rebbe was born, the two Rebbes before him sent a message to his parents that the Rebbe should wear specific clothing. I think it was white linen, because they said he's a special neshama and you have to raise him that way. So when neshamas are born,
Somebody
like Moshe, for example, it says when Moshe was born, there was a light. And when Batya pulled the basket out of the water, she saw a light. When she wanted to give Moshe a wet nurse to feed him because he was crying, he had been in this basket for a little while, Moshe wouldn't accept to be nursed by a non-Jewish woman. Why? Because the mouth that will eventually speak to God was not allowed to have even a drop of not kosher milk. So did Moshe know when he was 3 days old? No. But Hashem surrounds this holy soul with the right parents, with the right upbringing, with the right teachers, so they guide this child from when he's a child all the way up to becoming a Moshe, a Rebbe, a Tzaddik, a leader. So they are already being sent and directed into that mess, into that space. Because a Tzaddik can never even have any negative thoughts. So that means they can't be raised in a family where the family sticks them on some silly TV show. Because a tzaddik would never be able to be subjected to that.
So a tzaddik can never be somebody that did a tshuva.
That would be a Beinoni wannabe, which means they become a Beinoni, which to us looks like a tzaddik. And that's a massive, massive level. Now, according to the Talmud, that is considered tzaddik. But the Tanya breaks it up into a more practical and realistic level. That a tzaddik has to be someone that's born with that special neshama and keeps it that way. A person that does tshuva could become, on the outward looks like a tzaddik, but inside, how do they know they're not a tzaddik? Because they haven't squashed the nefesh of Bahamas. They still have it, and it's just on sleep mode. You know when you leave your office and you have to put your computer, it says you want to shut down or put on sleep mode? So you put it on sleep. So it's not really squashed, the nefesh of Bahamas. Yeah.
The stuff that you did before in your class.
But he fights it right away. But right away he doesn't dwell on it. So if it comes up as a thought, immediately it's knocked out. That's a Beinoni. That's a massive level.
Spams.
It's like a spam. It's like exactly. So that's the power of the nefesh elokis, to reach out, to connect to the tzaddik, and to align ourselves. Like someone just asked over here, I want to be a tzaddik, and someone's asking a question. Can women? Oh, this looks like it's going to be a good question. Let me see if I could find it. Can women become a tzaddik? So the women version of a tzaddik is a tzaddiket. Sarah was a tzaddiket. Rivka was a tzaddiket. Rachel, Leah, Rebbetzin Chaim Mushka, whose yahrzeit coming up. Every generation there are Isha Tzidkaniyat. I just, by the way, want to tell you that last week I went to the Rebbe's Ohel. It was right before Yud Shvat. And every time I come into the Ohel, I go straight in. I daven a little bit, I give tzedakah, and I write a letter, and then I go into the Rebbe's, where the Rebbe's resting place is. When I come out, I always like to go into the was like a little lounge where they have videos of the Rebbe, and it's always the Rebbe speaking. They have a clip of one of the Farbrengens. This time, for some reason, I walked in straight into that room first. And as I walk in, I looked at the screen, and the Rebbe was saying a sicha. And the words that I walked in was, Nashim tzidkaniyot, b'schus nashim tzidkaniyot nigalu avatenu, which means in the merit of the righteous women, tzidkaniyot. What's the root of tzidkaniyot? Put it down in the comments. Because of the nashim tzidkaniyot, what's tzidkaniyot? Yeah, tzadikot, female tzaddik. Because of the righteous women, the Rebbe was saying, Mashiach will come faster. And at that point, I was going into the oil, A, because it was Yud Shvat, B, I was speaking that night in Muncie to women. And the topic was how, as women, we could bring Mashiach. That was the conversation. How could we bring Mashiach into your home as women, as role makers, as wives, as mothers? And there, the Rebbe says, how do you bring Mashiach? The Rebbe gave me the answer. 1 second. Because of the righteous women. So Rashi and the Talmud do allude to us women who are invested in Yiddishkeit and daven and give tzedakah and help people. The Rebbe says we are nashim tzidkaniyot, and the Rebbe does use the word tzidkaniyot. So to allay your fears, yes, we could reach that level. And I know some women, one woman specifically, who says, oh, I can't stand in the Shanashim Tzidkaniyas, all women are righteous. And you know what? If the Rebbe could say it, it's good. It's good for me. If the Rebbe feels we can reach that level, I'm good. And that's a bar we set. So, every day it's becoming a little bit more aligned with our Nefesh Elokis. And every time we learn Tanya, it connects us a little bit more. So I want to wish you all a great day. Yes, Naomi, the word is righteous. And that is what we all try to be. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next Tuesday.